Hello, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is the PoppinCulture podcast. My guest today is comedian and yoga instructor Kelby T. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Feliz Cumpleaños.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Uh, Before we get into the podcast, our topic is cell phones. Kelby chose it. But before we do, I love talking to comedians. A lot of people talk about bombing, but I'm more focused on succeeding. So, when was the first time you killed and how did it feel?
The first time I killed was a private room I do on Tuesdays. It's all black people, and
Okay.
I love it. I mean, it started out as poetry, like a rap room. And I really felt accomplished with all this pandemic when I made the guy that went to prison laugh so hard he told me to stop. He was like, when he was doing that, I'm like, I'm doing good.
Nice. Nice,
I
nice.
murdered.
Nice, man. Nice. Has anything you've done before compared to that feeling?
No, I mean, I got my nursing degree and even making money, and I was a sedation nurse in a GI clinic. It felt cool putting people to sleep and knowing you have people's life in your hands. But making people laugh hysterically is makes me have a way better feeling than that.
Nice, nice, nice. But yeah, you guys definitely check out Kelby in the Greenville area and all over South Carolina. Very funny comedian, man. Thank you again for coming on to the podcast,
Thank you.
bro. The topic you chose was cell phones.
Hmm.
Any special reason why?
Well, I feel like I've seen the full history of them. You remember a bag phone back in the day?
No.
So I'll tell you what a bag phone was. My dad had one. A bag phone was just a bag that you put inside the car. I guess they hook it up to the battery, and you would make phone calls out of the car. And that was the way cell phones were originally, made. And when you had a bag phone, you would have fucking shit back in the day.
Okay.
Like you would have shit. You're like, what are you in traffic? Yeah, bitch, I'm on my bag phone. What's up?
Okay. Was that kind of like the car phone, or that was totally different?
I guess it was the car phone. Yeah. They
Okay,
used
because
to
I
call it
remember
a
a car
bag
phone.
phone.
Cool. I remember the car phones. My uncle had one of those, which was you had to
Yeah.
have like this big antenna on your car for some reason. It was
Yeah.
couldn't go through any drive-through comfortably.
Nope.
Yeah, I did a little research. I think Motorola made that bag phone, I believe, in 1979 or 1978.
Hmm. Back
Um,
in the day. And
yes,
that some bitch was heavy.
yes. How long do if you remember? I'm not saying you're old, but like if you remember, how long did he have to charge it?
Oh, I don't even remember. I was a peon back then, a couple
Okay,
days old. I remember the next phone after that, I think you had a Motorola. It was the one where the flip went over the numbers. You had to pull the antenna out.
yeah, I remember
So
that
you
one.
thought you used to flip that sumbitch with your thumb and pull it out with your teeth like a badass. Like, hold on.
Yes, yes. It was all like I want to say green and black. It was no color yet.
Yeah, it was the green screen,
Yep.
and you couldn't even turn the tone off. It would just be D D D. No settings.
Yes. And like I said, we're talking about how cell phones influence pop culture.
Yeah,
At that time, was it like more of a status symbol to have a phone?
I think it really was a status symbol. And back in the day, you had minutes. So
Yes.
if you call
Oh,
somebody and you would pick up on accident, you'd be like, shit, well, let me go ahead and talk to you for 45 more seconds. You're going to charge me the whole minute.
yep.
You get
Yes.
like 200 or 300 minutes or something like that on the plan. You are a king.
Yes. I remembered. I call you back out to 7, and that was the best. That was
Nights and
like
weekends, baby.
that was just one of the weird things as a teenager. I remember one time I thought it was it went off each time. So if you call somebody after 7 on your time, if somebody was in a different time zone, it didn't matter. And I was talking to this girl, and man, when I say I'm in South Carolina, she was in South Dakota at the time, coming back to South Carolina. And when I say my mom got that bill,
Go ahead.
okay, cool. Just making sure everything was okay. Uh, when I say my mom got that bill, that was the worst ass whooping ever. I'm
Oh yeah, she
like,
got the sense. She got the quarters out of that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, for real. Like,
Yeah.
the girl was. I was like, I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy how I don't know if you remember back in the day, like when you used to talk to girls, on the house phone. You have that long cord. You have to pull that cord from the kitchen all the way to the living room, have it taut, you
Yeah,
know?
I remember
Oh
nobody get
man.
on the internet. That's what I remember. It's like, hey, don't get on the internet, not now. Like, you know.
I don't know. It's just so crazy. Like speaking of that, like we can just look up porn, like just go in and POR and then Pornhub auto populates and it's got the top 50 on there. Back in the day, you had to wait till moms went to sleep after Law and Order went off, or and then hook up to the Windows 98, and you're like hacking. You feel like you're hacking in, and I didn't even know what to go to. I would just type in like bigboobs.com or sex.com.
We went through a lot of computers because of porn. It was a lot of viruses that shut down a computer. My gateway didn't make it that long.
I
Yeah,
bet.
yeah. Did you?
But what was your favorite cell phone throughout the times if you had to pick one?
I would like to start with my worst phone, if you don't mind. The
Go
Samsung
ahead.
Glide. I had 5 of them because they kept breaking. Like, I don't know, it was like a just you push up. It was like a sidekick kind of, but you just push up and it broke on me. And that was the first phone I ever had that had like good internet. Like it was slowly adjusting websites to be mobile, and it it was a good phone. But it just, I mean, not a good phone. It just kept breaking. But the best phone I had was the first best phone I ever had was the second Razor. I thought that was just a very clever. At that time, I thought that was very clever. It was the first phone I ever bought a ringtone for.
I remember that ringtone market. It was like a shitty piano that used to make. I remember the first ringtone I ever bought was that song by My Chemical Romance. I'm not okay.
Yeah, yeah. My first ringtone was "Sexy Love" by Neo. Uh,
Oh,
no lyrics, just it sounded like Super Nintendo's music. Like looking back on it. What was your worst and best phone?
okay. Um, well, I wanted to say I got to give you props because if you had a razor back in the day, you had to take blowjobs and like back them off, like with a tennis racket. You were the man if you had a razor back in the
Uh,
day.
I
but
wish I wish that was true.
I'm just kidding. I
Yeah.
would, me too. Um, I would say the worst phone I had. Um, it was this one by T-Mobile. It was a Sidekick knockoff. I just didn't like the original Sidekick was the beast. Speaking of that, you remember that one chick that was she was like 7 or 8 and she was the world's fastest texting
Yep.
champ
Yes.
off the Sidekick. And yeah, I didn't really like that one. The best phone I had, well, I think it was timing. I think it was right when the 6 came out, the iPhone 5 or 6, and it
Yeah.
was it was the first step. It was remarkably bigger than the other, right?
Yep.
I got that some bitch the first day it came out. For some reason, I just needed a phone, and then I had it, and then I was showing like all the chicks from Wofford when I was at the club, like, this is the new iPhone 5.
Did it
That's why it
work?
was my favorite.
Did it work out for you?
Um, yeah, it worked out for a little bit, and then they saw me because it was my first iPhone that I got. I went from like a shitty slider phone to that, and they saw me texting sideways, and they're like, "Oh my god, you text like that?" And then they were done.
Okay. He had him in the first half. Had him in the
Yeah,
first half. Uh,
got him. Yeah.
so, what do you think is more important when it comes to cell phone companies? While we're on the topic, the company itself, or do you think the manufacturer?
Um, well, I think since the manufacturers go back and forth, I think it's the company itself. I'll tell you something funny. I got my first cell phone plan when I was 18 with Verizon.
Ooh,
I've been with them 10 years. And there was some people that used to, if you remember back in the day, people got grandfathered in with the unlimited plans,
yep.
with the unlimited minutes.
Hmm.
And then as you see how like culture has changed, it went from we don't even care about minutes, we care about data,
Yeah.
you know. But I think Verizon's been good to me, even though they charge a little bit more. I ain't never had Cricket Wireless or anything like that. But
Did you ever have Alltel?
oh, I remember Alltel. This is what I was gonna ask you. I don't know if you remember. Was it Alltel that merged with Singular and
Mhm.
then Singular merged with Verizon and then Verizon came Verizon Wireless? Was that it?
I thought it was AT&T and Singular.
Oh, AT&T, yeah. Nah, man, I just had Verizon straight up.
Nice, nice, man. Good. We had Verizon, and then my mom was like, "This is way too expensive," and we had Sprint. And I lived in Winsboro, South Carolina, which is very much country, and you have no signal with Sprint. So she was like, "We're not going back to Verizon," and we went to AT&T, and that's where we stayed for the longest. I'm with Straight Talk now, but I remember AT&T was they were a good deal for being in the country. So
Yeah, there was a time when you had a cell phone to where there was a dead zone. Like you're right. I remember Sprint had so many dead zones, like you couldn't even do anything, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, but somehow they
Yeah.
survived, man. It's crazy to think because like Alltel, they had a good 2 years where like I can kind of remember their commercials. Do you have any favorite like cell phone commercials in general?
I think my favorite one now is because you remember back in the day. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Straight up, Sprint hired that guy, put a yellow shirt on him, and said, "We got him now," because they pulled him from Verizon.
yeah. Did you hear that story, man? That was so sad, man.
No, I didn't hear the story. What was going on with it?
Long story short, he was gay, and I guess at that time Verizon was like, "Nah, man, they paid him not to like not to act gay, but like not to be openly gay." And when he got married, they were kind of like, "All right, man, you can't be here anymore."
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
like it doesn't get a lot of attention. Maybe they paid him to stop saying it, but he was like, "Yeah, that was the reason why Verizon was like, hey, we're cool with you being gay, just don't be openly." And once he got married, it was kind of like, "All right, can't be no more
yeah.
open than that."
And Sprint's kind of like that side chick. They're like, "Yeah, we'll pick him up."
Yeah, we don't care if he suck dick. We don't. Yeah, that's
We don't
totally
care if he
fine.
suck dick. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's already got an unlimited plan on us on the arm. You know.
yeah, yeah, for real. Yeah, people recognize that face. When it
Mhm.
when it comes to branding, what company do you think brands the best?
As far as the phone or the plan.
The plan.
Ooh, it's always a dead tie with me between Verizon and not Sprint. It's usually Verizon and T-Mobile. I feel like there's always the top two. You know, I never had T-Mobile. That's the pink one, right?
Yes.
And Verizon. I mean, Verizon's like the America of cell phones because they're always like, we got the best coverage, 99% of America covered. They don't even care, you know.
Yeah, and I love
Wonder
the
how long
fact.
they're gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy. I apologize.
Oh, you got. I was just wondering how long they're gonna stay there, you know, like the Roman Empire when they're gonna get clapped down, you know.
Well, I think the best thing about Verizon that people don't talk about is they know when to give up. Also, do you remember the cell phone? It was a horrible cell phone, but do you remember Droid? They put a lot of money in a cell phone called Droid.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Like, I think the best thing they did was like, all right, we can't compare with Apple. Like, they just shut all that down.
What about the? Do you remember that one that slid up? It was called the chocolate. Remember that
Yes.
one?
Yeah. Everybody in high school had one of those. It seemed like I didn't have one, but I remember it so well. It was so big on about it could like download music or something. I think that was the big deal.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wanted the chocolate so bad. And I grew up in Union, not too much money there. And my mom was so nice and she got me a used chocolate. You know, she's
Nice.
like, get him a chocolate. And the some gun didn't even work the first day I got it out of a box. We just ended up taking it back. But I had a chocolate for like a half a day.
But did you get one that worked finally or no?
I think I just ended up taking it back and just not getting a cell phone and probably buying some weed and
Okay.
munchies with that hundred
Okay.
bucks, you know.
Not a bad investment. Not a bad
I
investment.
mean, it is union. What do you
Yeah.
expect, you know?
Yeah. Um, in your opinion, just watching old movies, for example, what they thought a cell phone would look like and what a cell phone looks like now, do you think they came a little close or do you think they were just off?
Um, I think it's really crazy how like two things. Well, number one, they always had that really, really big like rectangle, kind of like a mini fridge, you know. And I mean it was so fat, like what was in there, you know, just extra wires. I think that they had no idea what cell phones are going to be. But the thing that really got me is that remember back in like the 60s and 70s, maybe even the 80s or whatnot, people used to talk in the watch and they're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is so scientific. This is never going to happen. And now we do it on a watch, you
Yep.
know?
You can
So
literally buy Apple Watch and like have a cellular plan on it, or Google Watch and have a cellular plan in it. So it's right there. And I don't know about you, but I had an Apple Watch a couple years ago, and it was a good idea in theory, but that's not really comfortable to talk.
no, I ended up buying one for my ex, like the third version or something like that. But I think that the watch to me became like two and two, like a status symbol and a gift. Because back in the day when it first came out, like, oh, my boo got me an iWatch. You know what I'm saying?
It was like the Pandora bracelet of its time. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny. You got yours from your ex-wife. My ex-wife got it back in a divorce, so that's hilarious. Yeah, I was like, that's it. That's what you want. All right. Um,
Yeah. Speaking of ex-wives, salute for being in the club with me. It's crazy how cell phones have changed dating. You
Yo, yes, yes, sir. When you had to like go out to find a woman, now it's just a swipe left or swipe right. It's definitely
hmm
changed the dating game.
I know.
Do you think that's a good thing, or do you kind of think it's negative?
I think it's good and bad. Some people might just link up. Like some people have love stories on Tinder and stuff like that. But
I'm getting
um,
married, so yeah,
yeah, there you go.
yeah. One swipe later, yeah, yeah,
I think that it takes out the. I mean, if you've been on the Tinder game, so like within a couple lines back and forth, that this is going somewhere or it's going nowhere.
yeah.
You know, like there's a beautiful feeling when you're talking to a chick on Tinder or Bumble or something like that, and it's kind of like you got a fish, and you're like, this one's coming in, buddy. I got this one. It's gonna be good. This one's not crazy. You know, you know.
I can't tell the crazy part. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't got that yet. Like I
I've
could, I
seen.
go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I was gonna say I've seen that the craziness is the ones that are too upfront. you know if they tell too much up front, then you already know. So I learned to play that on my side you
Right.
know
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, you'll run into that real quick. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, those are the
yeah.
ones you block. Um, yeah, real quick. Uh, when it comes to the negative side of it, I feel like cell phones have made it easier for people to stalk. I've had stalkers before. It's very weird, but you realize like, oh man, like just knowing that you have like always on location, somebody could track you pretty easily depending on what you post. I think that's one of the downsides of cell phones.
I'll tell you something funny, man, because I like talking about it now, letting people learn from it. We had this thing when I was married called Life 360. You ever heard of that?
Mm,
Life 360 is where it's an app and all of your family download it. So like auntie, grandma, cousins, and all that, and it tracks it. So you can go on the app and be like, auntie's here. It's like a safety type thing.
okay, cool.
And this is so petty. You can see the pettiness of my ex. Every time she would get mad or upset, like she would turn the location services off on Life 360. That's some low key dirty shit, ain't
Yeah,
it?
very much like that because there's no reason why. Like there's no reason why. There's no good excuse to do it.
Yeah. Like, what are
Yes,
you gonna do? You gonna go to Target, look at some cards or some shit? You
yeah,
ain't really going nowhere.
yeah, yeah. If we all agree on this in the beginning, it's different if you don't agree in the beginning. But if you all agree in the beginning, like, hey, this is what we're going to do, there's no reason not to. Yeah, that's sneaky. That's very
Yeah.
sneaky. Um,
hmm
wow, I'm sorry to hear that, but well, at least it's your ex-wife now, so that you don't have to worry about that. Uh, that's perfect for kids, though. I feel like that would be perfect as a
hmm
parent. When my son gets his first cell phone, I think that would be wow. Thank you for letting me know about that. Hopefully, that's still a thing. Um,
Yeah, it's Life 360. It's like a couple bucks a month, and then there's a way you can monitor how they drive. You can monitor the traffic. You can see the locations where they've been. It's kind of like CIA for family, but
Yeah, as a parent, that's perfect. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like in real, and as an adult, I wouldn't want another adult be able to do that to me. Be like, hey, oh yeah, I know you did this, this, and that. But to have a
yeah,
child, Yeah, it's a two-edged sword because yeah, that is a lot. Like my, how they say you have an FBI agent that looks after you or whatever, like that.
Hmm.
That'd be tough to be like, yeah, I know everywhere you've been for like 10 years because of an app. So yeah, that's hmm,
And then your kid could clap back too. You could be like, Dad, why? How come you always go to the ABC store at 4 o'clock when you get off work?
because I'm a grown ass man. I
Because I pay
wish,
for your cell phone bill.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah. I wish I got a problem. Don't worry about it. Okay. Um, so the transition, when was the first time you realized that cell phones was a necessity?
Um, I tell you what, it was so crazy is that when I was in ROTC, I went to ROTC at Wofford College, and a lot of times, they call them MS one, twos, threes, and fours, freshmen to seniors, and there'll be
Shout
a
out.
line of,
Oh, I
yeah,
was saying shout out to Walford. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh yeah, shout out, yeah. There'll be always a line of communication that we would have to have, and it was silly stuff. It was practicing, and we would do apps or bum da 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 motherfucking group text messages. You remember that?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, people still do it now, but they've kind of got over it. But I remember that, like, the necessity of cell phones makes it to where everything can happen without people being in person, you know. So,
I mean, this right here is an example. Like
oh yeah, dude.
um, we talked about the downsides of like stalkers and people using it in negative ways. Uh, but in your opinion, what's the most positive thing you've got out of having a cell phone?
I tell you the really most positive thing, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. We're both comedians, so
Yeah.
I think that what we do is on stage is we have the full
Yeah.
range of our emotions.
Yeah.
So the most beneficial thing that I'd say godsend is that FaceTime. Going through a divorce, I could FaceTime my daughter 2 and 3 times a week. She could see my face and see my facial expressions and learn from me. And that, I think that's like the biggest benefit, of people connecting. And then, the cheesy, even though I was in the army, the cheesy like military videos of like them FaceTiming back home and stuff. I think that's kind of like the peak
Okay.
of what we can get.
Nice, 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 nice. I didn't even think about that, but you're totally right. That is one of the biggest aspects. What do you think comes next?
I'm fearful. I mean, I joke a lot, and I was a nurse, and I'm a comedian, but I really truly am a yogi, and the journey is inward versus outward. And my fear is that we're going to have them implanted one day. We're either going to have glasses on, we're going to have the implanted chips, and we're like, why you got to carry it around? Because I thought about something the other day. I don't know if you ever got this thing. It's kind of like phantom text syndrome, is what I call it, where your phone's in your pocket and you feel like it vibrates, but
Yeah,
it doesn't.
yeah,
And if you think about that, phone is in contact with your leg muscles, like from the time you walk around all day till you go to bed. My biggest fear is that we're just going to merge with it.
yeah. That I hope that doesn't happen. To be stuck to a company for your whole life already out the womb.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine if you had to cancel a cell phone bill with Verizon? They got to cut that shit out of you. And then they charge you a $300
Yeah.
contract break for you to cut it out.
Yes. You got to pay the doctor. All these like it'd be totally ridiculous.
Yeah, dude.
Because they would get it. They would get it. Like no doubt.
And then you
Uh,
got to send it back in the mail.
but yes, yes, yeah. Box it up.
It don't have no blood on it either. We're gonna charge you extra for a cleanup fee.
Exactly. That wow, that it would be very much. I feel like the world is turning a little bit into like a Twilight Zone episode. Not quickly, but like I can see us getting to that Black Mirror type of things if we don't keep everything under control. Um, when it comes to cell phones and the effect on pop culture, do you feel like pop culture has continually influenced the way we use cell phones, or do you feel like it's been kind of a step behind?
Well, I'll tell you the word pop. I took a history of rock class
Okay.
when I was a freshman, and I remember the way he would talk about R&B and jazz and rock, and then they talked about pop. when they talked about like Madonna first came out as a pop star, pop was a song that didn't have any meaning about anything. It didn't have any meaning about blues. It didn't have any meaning about relationships or anything like that. So like pop culture, when we go from pop music to pop culture, it's like pop music was, it didn't have anything to do with anything. And then pop culture is what's here, what's popping,
Yeah,
you know,
what's popular.
you know, what's popping, And I think that um it's gonna implode on itself eventually, you know, because pop culture, like you had to go look at magazines or you had to go look at TVs. It's just everything's so accessible now. Like you could spend a lifetime on YouTube watching makeup tutorials.
True, true, very true.
And I think it kind of like waters it down, because human engagement is the thing. This helps a lot with human engagement, but pop culture is, like what's the most fun, what's the most hip, and I think you get more of an experience when you go out and see it in person versus just seeing it on the phone.
True. Oh yeah, very true. Seeing a concert over the phone is not like being there at all. Um,
Yeah.
true. Um, you made a great detail. I mean, you made a great statement when you said that putting chips in our bodies. Uh, just asking, would you if that became the next thing, would you give up using cell phones or would you actually do it?
I'd probably give up using cell phones if we had to. And it's not like, I know a lot of people, Christian faiths, no offense to anybody's faith or anything. They talk about the mark of the beast, but merging with technology. But I'm a yogi, and I just worship God. I don't. It's kind of crazy because if we can't fathom the creation, of infinity, how can we fathom the Creator? You know, I would go low key, bro. You'd see me like the Last of Us in the woods, with a shotgun or something like that. Because then it just takes over your body. Like could you imagine you have to go in not only for a checkup on your body, but a checkup on your cell phone?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that
and
would be just too much control, just too much at all. That's some
yeah,
Minority Report type stuff right there.
I think what they would do first, and mark my words, they would give a lot of them free.
Yeah,
They'd
of
be like,
course.
here,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, they'll give you free, and then could you imagine the Apple Care after that? Apple Care is already expensive enough.
Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine trying to get insurance with that? Yeah, they would any place that charges $500 for headphones, I would not want them over my healthcare. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Um,
crazy, dude.
yes, yes. Before we get off, I would like to talk about the lower echelon of companies in the lower echelon of cell phone manufacturers. Uh, if you didn't have Verizon, what's your lower company? And when I mean like Cricket, Boost Mobile, um, matter of fact, T-Mobile was literally considered like low, and like throughout the years, they finally came up a little bit from not being like the low
Yeah.
income, well, not low income, but the lower level, lower tier of cell phones companies. So if you didn't have Verizon, if you had to choose one of the lower tier companies, which one would you choose?
There's a lot. I'll probably choose. I mean, just anything like cricket. Like, if you want to think, there's a lot of ways that you can communicate without a cell phone plan, i.e., buy a phone, 200-300 bucks used. Go to like Coffee Underground in Greenville,
Yeah.
get the Wi-Fi password, and talk to somebody over like that once you connect to Wi-Fi. So I'd probably do, if I had to like really get broke, I'd probably just do Wi-Fi only, baby.
Nice, nice, nice.
Make them calls like that.
True. That's smart. All right. Well, man, thank you for coming on to the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Oh well, um, I got a dirty mind, but I have a pure heart.
Nice, nice, nice. Where can they follow you on social media?
Kelby T comedian on Instagram, Kelby T comedian on Facebook. Um, Getting ready to start teaching probably once or twice a week some free yoga classes, pumping that out, and you know, catch me in Greenville. You know, every set that's in Greenville, you bet I'm there. So.
Nice, nice. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening and have an amazing day.